minority further finds that it is administratively viable to provide for a specialized court within the civilian courts for purpose of trial of criminal offenses committed by the military person. The next point of the dissent is on limited or exceptional circumstances, as has been said. Madam Speaker, the minority recognizes the discussion in the judgment on the limited circumstances of trials of civilians and or military persons in the court-martial in Uganda. In the judgment, the minority understands that these circumstances appear to be strictly in reference to a situation where, and we can pay attention, one, the Constitution is not in force, similar to the military rule during Idi Amin's regime. That is the first condition for trial of civilians in the military court. There must not be Constitution in force. Two, courts of law have no capacity to try the offenses. For example, there are shortages of competent judicial officers. Three, soldiers and civilians are on duty or deployed in a foreign land where there is no possibility of returning them for trial in Uganda, and there is no other court in that country to try the accused. We all know where our army, the UPDF, are deployed, so the court-martials can try them there in case that country does not have a law or the situation of the war in that country. That is the understanding of the minority, of humanity. And we, the servants who are here assembled right now, are being looked upon with abundant flavor to perform such an important trust of Ugandans. Do not betray that trust. I beg to submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Patrice. Honorable Dur, first of all. Article 119, sub-article 3 and 4 gives the Attorney General powers to be the legal advice of government, and where you said I should be the one to answer all the legal requirements or legal questions. I have never been the legal advisor of government. I will now ask the legal advisor of government to respond to all the issues raised in the two minorities, and secondly, on the issues. Stop merrymaking. On the issues of subjudice, I can only determine whether there is subjudice when I have been informed of an active civil or criminal case, and that is provided for under Rule 75. I will not go on a fishing expedition to find out whether there is a case somewhere, so that can only be answered by the Land Attorney General. Over to you, Land Attorney General.
Versus the Attorney General of the Republic of Uganda, who is the respondent. It is duly stamped by the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Directorate of Civil Litigation. I beg to lay on table and invite that it's
you can lay it, but I've only gotten to know it now that it is the case. Attorney General.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, two cases that are in the one case in the East African Court of Justice and another one in the Supreme Court. Right Honorable Speaker, I have had the opportunity to read these two decisions, and I really wonder how someone can actually think it touches on this matter. Because these matters in court, I wonder how we can even think it attaches to the matter before this Parliament. The orders being sought in Marema Birizi are to actually quash. Marema Birizi went to the East African, rather Uganda Law Society went to the East African Court of Justice to quash the decision of the Supreme Court. So when you say that we are discussing an amendment, he's not even discussing whether or not you should amend or not amend. He's saying just quash that decision. So if we quash that decision of the Supreme Court, it cannot be a matter that is subjudice, because it will then not even affect the conversation we are having. The second one, Right Honorable Speaker, is a matter of contempt. Honorable Mr. Marema Birizi has taken a matter to the court saying that by the Parliament carrying out this activity of amending the UPDF Act, it is in contempt of court. Right Honorable Speaker, you are damned if you do and damned if you don't, because the Supreme Court did order you to amend the law and bring it in compliance with the decisions of the Supreme Court. That's what we are doing here. Now, for someone to say that we should not do it because we shall be held in contempt, you'll be held in contempt if you don't. So, the conversation we should be having here is whether what we are doing is in compliance with what the Supreme Court ordered. But to say that we should not do it, I think that would be superfluous, and I hope Honorable Dul does agree with me that we must handle this matter. The conversation of what we need to do, what amounts to what is in compliance with the Supreme Court decision, will require us to look at those provisions that are being proposed by the executive, and then we can have a conversation as to whether they comply or they don't comply. But if you say we should not look at them, then you will not even know whether they comply. Right Honorable Speaker, that is my response on the question of subjudice. Then there was a question whether there was a lead judgment. Yes, Right Honorable Speaker, I did write under my hand that there was a lead judgment which was given by the Honorable the Chief Justice, but at no point did I even intimate to any member that read only that judgment. You see, when you're dealing with appellate decision, especially where you have 7 justices, you must read all the 7 justices and determine what each one said on that point. You could have a lead judgment where the 6 judges don't agree on a particular point. So I think it is important that as we go through this, I have personally had the opportunity to read all the 7, and I can see you have relied on one judgment, but I think it's important for us to look at all the 7 so that we are clear as to what the court said. The judgment of the lead judgment must be supported by the majority of the other judges on every point that you address. So it is not to say that whatever the lead judgment says must be followed as the final judgment. So, and I think what we have done in this is we have looked at all the judgments and tried to bring them into context.
To Ugandans very clearly the following. 1, Attorney General, you need to clarify on the exceptional circumstances whereby a civilian can be tried in the court-martial. And you have to tell us clearly the ingredients of the exceptional circumstances.
Thank you.
Right Honourable Speaker, number 2.
In the interest of time, we'll give a minute.
Right Honourable Speaker, let me clear this. The second point is very important. Right Honourable Speaker, on the bill, we talk of the civilians putting on the uniforms or the military attires. We would like the Attorney General and the government to tell us clearly, how do you define the military attires?
Honorable Gilbert, you'll also need to refer to Section 30 on those exceptional circumstances.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Let the government put it clearly, for the military attires must be properly designated and labeled as UPDF.
Thank you.
You cannot find somebody put on Kaunda suits and gumboots, you start labeling that this is a military attire, when it's not properly labeled as UPDF military attire.
Thank you.
And finally,
first of all, I want to stand here and confirm that I'm here to support the majority report which has been presented by the Chair of Defense and Internal Affairs. Number 2, Madam Speaker, with your permission, allow me to say the following, colleagues.
Continue.
Madam Speaker, I need to be protected by Honorable Nsereko so that I can make my case.
Honorable Nsereko, why don't you leave your colleague, then you come. Honorable, go and continue.
Madam Speaker, first of all, I want to address myself to the country on a matter which are regarding the Uganda People's Defense Forces Amendment Bill. I hope the country clearly understands what this amendment is all about. Why am I bringing this? We seem to be only tailoring the bigger picture of the bill to one item, which is now discussing about the court-martial. And I want really fellow countrymen and women to first understand the objective of this bill helps us to improve the welfare of our defense forces, which at all times lives to protect this country where we all cherish, whether we are in parliament or not in parliament. However, allow me to address one issue on the minority report. Madam Speaker, and I want to read it verbatim, and it pains, and specifically from my brother, Honorable Jonathan. Madam Speaker, give me 1 minute. The scenario of Karamoja, which I want to quote from his minority view. The scenario of Karamoja, which was presented in the committee as a success story of court-martial, was unjustified. It was claimed that the judicial officers had feared to be deployed in Karamoja as a hear case because of insecurity. And he asked the following questions. My brother, I'm a victim. I am a victim here. If we talk about Karamoja, I am a victim. If you talk about Karamoja, my mother was raped. If you talk about Karamoja, I lost my father. If you talk about Karamoja, I'm still losing people up to now. What are you talking about? When we are here, friends, let's be sincere to ourselves. Some of our people are not sleeping in their houses because of Karachunas who continue to make our people suffer. Friends, this law, this court-martial has helped our people to begin going back to their homes. Friends, our people are now able to go back to their gardens to work because of the court-martial. Where were you at that time when there was no court-martial? Were we not in camps? So when we are here, friends, Honorable Jonathan Obu, our cows left. Where are our cows? Is it Museveni who took our cows or the cattle rustlers? Is it indeed Museveni who helped us now to begin even being to compensate on our cows, which were taken by the cattle rustlers? So friends, when we are here, Madam Speaker, for you to come and insinuate that the court-martial case is not a success in Karamoja is entirely being unrealistic, being not nationalistic, being not a leader of your stature, Honorable Do.
Thank you.
The General has clarified a number of issues. You know, for us in football, when you are passing and you get boys or girls playing football with a good talent, we pick them and take them to football clubs. We don't take them to Malua groups so that their talents are well developed and handled there. So in a situation, one is carrying a gun to harm others, terrorize others. Berets which are for military. What is the interest of that person? Do you have to waste time with that person? Take that person where he belongs. Take to the court which he belongs. And now, the issues of independence have been clarified here in this bill, which is so good. In case there are going to be any gaps, we are still here. We shall come back and amend those gaps to make it better and better. Laws are built and made better over time. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I would like now to propose that we constitute ourselves to the committee of the whole House, and then we debate the clauses. Thank you.
Special consideration. You can.
Forward.
Yes, I'm going to give you. I am going to give you. Honorable members, I am saying I'm going to give you. Why do you challenge my powers? I am going to give you. Honorable members, Honorable Tafire this morning came to my office and asked for permission. He said he does not have a suit which fits him. Yes, so I gave him permission. Honorable,
I beg that, Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the bill entitled
Wait. There is a motion we want to
Uganda
debate.
People's Defense Forces Amendment
We want to debate
Bill
your motion.
2025.
Why don't you want us to debate your good motion? Honorable Speaker,
Maybe when a motion, maybe there is a motion. Let's dispose of the motion first. I'll give you. Now I'm going to give you. Even when we are at committee, I'll give you special consideration. You can.
Forward.
Yes, I'm going to give you. I am going to give you. Honorable members, I am saying I'm going to give you. Why do you challenge my powers? I am going to give you. Honorable members, I put a question that the Uganda People's Defense Forces Amendment Bill 2025 be read a third time and do pass. Those in favor stand the court.
Order, Madam Speaker.
Let's have it.
The Uganda People's Defense Forces Amendment.
Madam Speaker, order on Honorable Kasaija.
Title settled and the bill passed.
Order on Honorable Kasaija.
The House adjourned and dined.
Honorable Kasaija said
uniform. Nolwekyo abantu baffe njagala bakimanye abali eyo nti ffe okusigalayo kwaffe era abasajja tubasuusiza kye tubasuusiza kakati kitegeeza tebakyasobola kumala gajja ne bakwata nti olina akakoofiira kaddugavu olina akakoofiira just kakala myufu kateeka okubaako logo ya UPDF serial number n'ebyefaananyirizaako bwe bityo kyekimu n'engatto n'ebifaananako bwe bityo so bo si kujja buzi ne bagamba eyo engatto efaanana eyaffe. Ekyokubiri tuwakanya ekigambo ekigamba nti omuntu tayinza kujulira mu high court agende straight mu court of appeal. Ekyokusatu procedure terambikiddwa ngeri ki gye banaawozaamu bantu bano mu kooti zino naddala abantu okusamba eddembe lyabwe okweyimirirwa n'okujulira byeyo byennyini bwe tukomye.